Hey Duck fans, Kurt here. Welcome to yet another FishDuck one-on-one video. This week we're talking with Isaac Walker, who spent a long time in Eugene, roaming the Ducks secondary in the early 90s as a cornerback and a safety. Isaac was a component of those great shutdown secondaries of the mid-90s, the gangrene defenses we all remember greatly. It is an absolute pleasure to catch up with Big Ike. How you doing, Isaac?
What's going on, Kurt? Big dog Kurt. What's going on, man? How you doing?
Well, you are from the Los Angeles area. So what intrigued you about Oregon when you were coming out of high school in the late 80s? Like, what schools were you looking at? What made you decide to finally become an Oregon Duck?
Gang banging got me out of L.A., Kurt. Running from the pub. No, I'm joking, but it's semi. I wanted a new look. I went to school at Dominguez High School in Compton, and I just felt that I needed to grow up and get away from that element of law, and it was actually a lot of violence going on during that time. Actually, in the 80s, with NWA and all that, yeah, there was some real life things going on in the street. So I just needed a breath of fresh air. Of course, I wanted to go to Oklahoma. They got on probation, and I started looking at other schools. And one of the top schools I was looking at was UCLA. They were recruiting about 3 of us from Dominguez, and one of my friends ended up signing with them. I wanted to get out of LA, so kind of Sean, UCLA, UW was recruiting me. Nebraska actually was the first school that came to want to talk to me, and Colorado was actually number 1 in the nation at that time.
Right.
And they wanted me to play wingback. I was going to Washington State this particular weekend, and Coach Schuler and Aliotti and those guys came to the house, and I went to 2 schools on one week. So I went to Oregon, University of Oregon, like on a Wednesday, and left there on Friday and flew up to Pullman, and the people were so nice. I was intrigued by, just the freedom, the liberty that everyone had, something that I wasn't used to in Los Angeles, Compton area. And came back home, talked to my parents, and pulled the trigger, man. Coach Schuler and Coach Aliotti, and let them know that Eugene was a place that I wanted to spend my college career, and it was one of the best decisions that I made in my life.
Well, that's awesome. So you go from Compton, California to Eugene, Oregon. That's quite a contrast.
Quite a contrast. Totally different, man. It blew my mind away.
You came in 91, redshirted, and then played, 92, 93, 94, 95 in Eugene. And what's interesting is you played sometime cornerback, sometimes safety. Was that simply trying to get you on the field because there were so many good secondary players on the team during your years?
Redshirted my first year, and then the next year, I couldn't pick up the plays as fast, man. Coach Schuler, man, and so he stuck me on the special teams, and so I had to get my little shine on the kickoff and kick return and punt and things of that nature. So that next year, man, I got my mind, together. And actually, I started my sophomore year. The first game against Colorado State, it was Herman and I. Mm-hmm. And what happened, Alex had tore his knee up against, I think it was Wake Forest in the Independence Bowl.
Yep.
And he wasn't ready 100% yet. He worked real hard, but he wasn't really 100%. And so the first game, I got the nod, man. And I remember calling home to Pops, like, Pops, I'm going to rip it. I'm about to get a pick today. And we had fun. The game shouldn't have been that close, but ended up getting an interception to help us, to get a victory. But it occurred again. It was weird, man, because out of the 4 years that I played, I had 3 different coaches.
Right. And
all of them was different. Coach Schuler, recruited me. He was a real strong, defensive-minded coach. Coach Aliotti at the time was new, I believe, to defensive backs. He was good. He was spunky. He came up with the gangrene name that everybody getting love off of now. I remember and we disagreed with it, actually.
Really?
He was like, Coach, do you know that's a fungus? It's a disease. Why would you want to be called gangrene? We laughed. We were like, it's corny. And, he's like, he's Aliotti. Slick hair, related to Pat Riley and all that.
The gruffy voice.
Yeah, what you mean? We, gang crazy, man. We ain't no, but it kind of stuck. I guess he got interviewed and it stuck with us. And man, before you know it, we was calling ourselves Gang Green Defense. And then I had my senior year, Charlie Waters, which was weird. Again, I go all the way back. My sophomore year, I started that year, the whole year. They moved me to nickel. I was playing corner the whole year. Herman got hurt the Colorado State game, first game. So Alex came in, so it was me and Alex and I. Our mindset was crazy. We were cocky. We didn't care who we played. I had no idea about the Civil War game. I come from L.A. I want to beat the Bruins, the Trojans. So our mentality was crazy. The Freedom Bowl was okay. We wanted to play Miami, Florida State. Rose Bowl type of stuff, we were always thinking about that. January games. So I played with a lot of good players, man. We were so stacked at defensive backs. I mean, stacked. I first came in, we had people like Mingo, Kenny Phillips, Daryl Smith, Eric Castle, Rodriguez. And these guys can play, And I was looking at Kemp and Rory. The guy that brought me in was Rory Derry. Big ups, Rory. And he taught me a lot. Rory taught me a lot. I sat down with him when I first got to work. He pulled me to the side, told me what to do, what not to do. I was wild. And he kind of told me to tone it down. I think I listened. I managed
maybe some.
Yeah, I managed. So Ike was tough, man. I always had a mind of my own. I always thought outside the box. We would go up in front their linemen, front their receivers in the what they call that, the tunnel, whatever.
The tunnel, yeah.
I promise you, swear to you not, Kurt. Go up into each one of their linemen, to the receivers, in their face and point in their face and tell them what we were going to do to them. Straight intimidation. I'm sorry, you might not like it, but that was mentality we had. We was trying to Debo everybody. We had no love and didn't care. UCLA, SC, did the same thing as SC. The year we won, they were so happy about it. Like, yeah, we beat SC. Chris Mack and I we used to be at clubs talking trash to Keyshawn Johnson before the game. No, seriously. And Keyshawn would be like, oh, we're going to beat you guys. And we laughing at him, whatever. So we get to L.A., and we're walking out before the game, and they're talking about stat game. A guy, one of the receivers, he's like, it's going to be a stat game. And I'm thinking, cuz, a stat game? Dog, do you know I live, and this cat he wasn't even from LA. He probably was from Texas or somewhere else, like, I don't know, somewhere far from.
Certainly couldn't find Oregon on a map.
We came there with a purpose and a mindset to change the game. We wanted to change the persona, the characteristics, the mindset of winning. And winning, before you can win, you have to think you can do it. And so we came down here really to make that change, and we did it.
Well, that game really stands out. They were ranked, I believe it was number 5 in the country, and the perception was that they were going to steamroll right over Oregon. That was the game when everything changed. People always think back, and in hindsight, they think about the 1994 Washington game. That USC game is the one that really stands out when that 94 year started to turn. It started to change. That was a huge upset when the Ducks beat down USC the way that they did. And that really propelled the whole rest of the year. And you look at now, people think back, 1994 is when it all started. Well, you can look at that one individual game. USC 1994 is really where all of that changed. And what you think of as modern Oregon football began.
Kurt, you know your stuff, man. You know your history. Really, that really was a turn in the program. And again, we had the preseason was kind of tough for us. We went to Hawaii, got dug. We got smashed. We was out there kicking. I'm going to tell you what happened. We was chilling, a bunch of California guys that never been to Hawaii before.
Right.
we was out there looking at bikinis and sand and the water.
It happens to a lot of teams that go to Hawaii. It's the best home field advantage ever, being in Hawaii.
We wasn't thinking about really the rain. First of all, they call the rainbows. You know what I mean? So
right.
I know, I guess you can't be scared of a duck, but a rainbow, we wasn't too intimidated about it. But they tore us up. We had about 4 guys come back with crutches. Of course, Corey was in the hospital there.
Neck injury, yeah.
Yeah, with the neck injury. But after we lost a couple games, man, we just got our minds together and made it happen, man, with teamwork.
If you think back to 1995 Washington State, you had an 82-yard interception return for a touchdown, picking off a pass. On the books, it went down for about 82. In reality, you ran about 150. So, what do you remember about that play?
Actually, we were running like a zone type of a man-to-man zone, and again, I was playing free safety. I believe I was looking at like the number 2 receiver, and again, the guy from Tucson, Arizona, Kenny Wheaton, he's from Tucson, right? Phoenix. Tucson, same thing. But he tipped the ball. He did something as usual. And I was just at the right place. Yeah, I was at the right place, man. And we with the defensive backs that we had, we always have a thing. Once you get a pick, man, you go score. If you don't score, then we're talking about you in the locker room, at practice. I'm on your head, And so I got the ball, and that was the first thing I'm thinking. I'm going to the house, And so I saw a quarterback, and of course, I'm not going to let a quarterback tackle me. I don't care who he is. I don't care how big he is. Akili, I know you big and you play linebacker and all that. You are not tackling. A quarterback? It's not happening. So I kind of...
That's almost as bad as like a kicker taking you down if you're doing kickoff returns.
You get stopped by a kicker, man. That's not good. Unless... Josh Bidwell
was a big dude. He played linebacker.
Like outside backer, Yeah, so Josh hitting you, then okay, you good. But anybody else, let Tommy Thompson tackle you, I'm on you. I'm on your head.
Especially if he's barefoot out there chasing you down with only one shoe.
Right, it's crazy. But I just, Kurt, that was a fun memory, man. It was a fun memory. It was a lot of people there, and man, who don't want to get a pick and take it to the house, Pac-10 game? And every game I had a good time in, Kurt, man. I'm serious. Anytime I can hit somebody, throw somebody out of bounds, and bringing wood, covering, whatever I was out there talking mess. It was like people didn't like it, but I was very influenced as a child by Muhammad Ali. I really liked the man, and I was someone I looked up to, and I guess it just grew on me. On the field, I was talking. I'm out there. If you're on the other team, you do not like me because I'm talking about you. I'm talking about your mama. And some people say, "Well, just talk. Just play." Okay, I'm gonna play and talk. I'm gonna beat you up, and I'm gonna tell you why I'm beating you up, and then I'm gonna help you up and talk about you too. So it was fun, man. I had a great time. I had a blast. When I got knocked out, Kurt, I ain't like that. I got knocked out. Man, I got hit by Robert Holcomb. Man, the dude, he hit me. I don't know if I hit the turf. I watched film on like 2 hours the next day. I felt like I was asleep in my bed cuddling with, a pillow. Pillow, honey. And all I remember was the trainer coming out there tapping me, saying, tapping. And I'm looking up like, what? I'm asleep, bro. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. And about the 3rd time he tapped me, I kind of looked around. I saw the lights. I'm like, oh, heck no. This cannot, I can't, I got knocked out. Like, Smokey, yes, I got knocked out. And so I just ran off the field, man. Head was spinning. That was my 2nd concussion, but that's a fun memory, man. Nobody want to remember getting knocked out. But
so do you have a personal favorite memory from your time when you were in Eugene?
A favorite memory?
Either on or off the field, man. Maybe something funny that happened behind the scenes?
The good times, man, in the locker room, we always had great times laughing. They always said I was making jokes in the locker room. But I'm a happy coach. a happy-go-lucky type of guy, man. I done been to too many funerals in my life, pallbearers. You know, every day I'm grateful, man. Thank God for giving me the opportunity to breathe. So life is grand, man. I was in the locker room laughing. I was doing something I enjoyed, man. I loved it. I was having fun.
What happened to Isaac Walker after we last saw you in an Oregon uniform?
Man, I tried to work out for some NFL teams, and I tore my groin, man. I was sick for like 2 years. Yeah, I was. I knew I
Everyone's
could
favorite
play.
muscle. It's not one you want to tear.
Kurt, I tore it, man. I cried for like. I kept trying to come back, and then I ruptured my ham. I always had hamstring problems since I was like 13 running track. Kept, trying to work out. It didn't work out for me, man. So I came back home and I coached for a little bit, like in like 96 at Fremont High School in LA. And then I dappered in the entertainment industry. I started messing around, man, with this agency, and they started calling me for little stuff, man. I played on Clueless, Smart Guy, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Sister, things of that nature. And, Life, the movie Life with Eddie Murphy and Martin Lawrence. So I started doing little TV things, and that lifestyle was kind of crazy. It's really, entertainment is
hectic. People don't realize how much work it is.
Yeah, it's a lot of work, long hours. And during that time, my wife, I've known her since we were like kids, but we started to get a little serious. So I was like, man, I need me something that's consistent. The industry is good. It's good money. And I was starting to, move up the ladder. I was thinking about doing stand-up and things of that nature. But my only thing, I was like, man, I can't be cussing on TV, man, and have my mom all embarrassed and things of that. that was the only thing that stopped me, man. And I was like, I'm going to Def Jam with Martin. But, I just turned, man, and I started teaching. Went to Compton Unified. I've been teaching, man, since probably about 13 or 14 years.
Well, for all the fans out there who remember your playing days as an Oregon Duck, do you have any messages you want to convey?
For the fans, man, I just want to thank you guys for being who you are. Thank you for just being Duck fans, very nice people, full of integrity. I've learned so much for you, the young kids. I remember little Luke, the guy that played basketball. I think he went to Wazoo. He's from Eugene or Springfield. He was a little kid, but he ended up being a good basketball player in the Pac-10. People like that, man. I just remember all the little kids asked for autographs, and they grew up. Just everybody in the community, from Shelton High to Willamette, Springfield, South, we loved it. Everybody it was beautiful. The alumni, the boosters, Daisy Ducks. We loved the cookies. We just really had good times, man, and you guys made us feel comfortable. You made us feel like we were special. And from when we were losing and then winning, it really got, once we started winning, it really started getting crazy in Eugene. Now, I know that. I remember coming from the games, and it's just the whole town is lit up. I got a ticket one time and got in a little trouble. I didn't pay it, and officer wanted to, I had to go see the judge, but the officer asked me for an autograph, for his kid. I was like, man, you gonna let me go? I ain't give you nothing, but it was funny, and we just had, great times, man. From all the things that we went through, we loved it, and it's a great place to play. I tell young people now, to this day, Kurt, you want to have a good time, go to Eugene. Some good people, and that's what sold me, the people. It wasn't the color of the uniforms. It was that environment that make you feel comfortable. I said, I can live here for about 4 or 5 years.
Teacher helping out the next generation and a great football player. So thank you for being a Duck. And as always, go Ducks.